Now I'm going to leave him up here on the table, and as long as he doesn't get too noisy, he's just going to hang out. Now I'm going to test your knowledge on reptiles as we go along. I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and if you know the answer to the question, do me a favor and raise your hand. Who can tell me what kind of snake around here has red, black, and yellow rings around the body? Raise your hand if you know. No, not a corn snake. No, they're brown and gray with diamonds. Red, black, and yellow rings. You really should know this one. We don't have that many venomous species. There you go. I bet nobody heard you. You have such a small voice. Coral snake. Right? We should know that one. It's a venomous species. What other snakes do we have in Texas that look similar to the coral snake? Anybody know? The milk snake. This is the Mexican milk snake. And these come from South Texas. They don't come from here. How many of you are familiar with... Hey guys, girls? And everything you said was wrong, by the way. How many of you are familiar with a rhyme to tell the difference between the coral snake and the milk snake? Anybody? Raise your hand. Come on, I know you've heard it. I'm going to tell you, forget the rhyme. I'm going to dummy it down. You don't need the rhyme. We don't have the milk snake here. This is from South Texas. We have milk snakes north, east, south, and west, except central. So, if you see a red, black, and yellow banded snake around here, what is it?
Coral.
It's a coral snake, exactly. The good news is, that's a harmless snake to you. A coral snake cannot physically bite you unless you pick it up and hold it like I'm holding this milk snake. Your average coral snake is 2 feet long with the diameter of a pencil. And they physically cannot bite you unless you pick them up and handle them. Wow. It's so easy. If you're lucky enough to see a coral snake, leave it alone. It's not a threat to you. It can't bite you. It can't do anything to you as long as you leave it alone. The other thing I don't like about the rhyme says kill a fellow. But that's never happened. There's never been a documented death to a coral snake bite in the United States. And yet we hear all these stories about how deadly they are. And that's what they are. This milk snake is 3 times the diameter of the adult coral snake. What's he doing with his tongue? Is he being rude? No, you're right. He's smelling with his tongue. Can you move that direction? I'm trying to keep the aisle open here. So, yeah, let's move over. Move that way. I'm trying to walk through that. Here we go. So what am I holding? Not a turtle, it's a tortoise. And how do we know this is a tortoise and not a turtle? By looking at it. What do we look at on this animal to tell if it's a turtle or a tortoise? Raise your hand if you know the answer. What do we look at to tell if it's a turtle or a tortoise? Not the shell. His feet, he doesn't have hands. His feet, okay, keep going. That's fine. Go on. No? Anybody else? And you know this by?
I know.
Oh, you almost spit the answer out. There you go. Webbed feet. You look at their feet. Turtles live in the water and they swim, so they have webbed feet. This is a Greek tortoise. Girls, we're walking through here, so can you move that way for me? This is a Greek tortoise. I like this kind of tortoise because it doesn't get too big. This is an adult, so they don't get too large. If you're thinking about getting a pet, where do you do your research? Where are we sitting? All right, the library. Because just not every pet works out for you. Everybody has their own criteria of what they can keep and what they can't, what they can feed. So you really want to do yourself a favor and do the research before you get a pet dog or a cat or a reptile. Okay? These are great for the pets because they stay.
Pass back. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Hazmat. Lay down.
Now I get several phone calls and emails throughout the year to identify snakes. And every once in a while, somebody will say, I've got a cobra in my yard. I'm like, that is so cool. That must mean you're calling me from Africa or Asia, because that's where cobras live. What they don't know is that we have a snake around here that people think is a cobra because of its behavior. What it does is it spreads its neck out when it gets scared. It's not a cobra, but it's an eastern hawk-nosed snake. And these are very common throughout the Austin area. They come in a variety of colors and a variety of patterns, but they all behave the same way. Now, like I said, the first thing she'll do when she gets scared is she spreads her neck out. She'll hiss real loud, she'll throw her head up in the air with her mouth closed, basically asking you to go away and find something else to do. Leave me alone. That doesn't work, she's got another trick. She'll roll over on her back, open her mouth, stick her tongue out, and play dead. The only snake in the United States that does that. It's so easy to identify them by the way they behave. And while she's playing dead, laying on her back, if you flip her right side up, she'll flip right back over. She's thinking, if I'm dead, you'll leave me alone, just go away. She doesn't stop there. If she just ate a meal, she'll give that back to you. Think about that. She'll go to the bathroom and smear it all over her body so she's stinky and smelly. She's doing everything she can except fighting for you to just go away, leave me alone. Such a neat snake. We don't have any other snake that does all that. See that nose? I was turned up my little kitty.
What's it called again? Eastern what?
Eastern hawknose.
Hognose.
Now, the other thing that makes her unique from other snakes is her diet, because she's one of the only poisonous animals we have around
Can I
here.
have your attention, please? Don't forget, we have adoptable pets from Pflugerville Pets Alive in Huntington State, and adoptable pets from Pflugerville Animal Shelter in the courtyard. Find your forever friend at Pflugerville Public Library.
So who can tell me what poisonous animal she eats? Raise your hand if you know. And I guarantee most of you have played with her food. What poisonous animal does she eat? No, scorpion is not poisonous. Scorpion is venomous. What poisonous animal does she eat? Nobody? There is no such thing as a poisonous snake. What kind of poisonous animal does she eat? Well, where do we live? Or where do duck frogs live? So that's not going to work, right? But you're on the right track. Toads. Right? Toads have toxins on their skin they use to protect themselves from predators. That's her favorite food. So what's the difference between a poisonous animal and a venomous animal? Poisonous animal is something you have to fight or swallow or ingest. Venomous has to bite or sting you. That's the difference. So what is a mushroom? Poisonous because you have to eat it. What is a rattlesnake? Venomous because you have to bite you. Now this hobnob snake really likes toads. That's his favorite food. And when you pick up a toad, and I know you guys have picked up toads before, right? When you pick them up, what do? That's the first answer. And if you're still hanging on to them after he peed on you, did you ever notice what he does with his body? They swell up. They suck in air to make themselves look too big for you to eat them. She has a way around that toad balloon. In the back of her mouth are extra long teeth that we refer to as rear fangs. She actually punctures that toad balloon. She deflates them and then she eats them. So she can eat toads and fill her body by her. Isn't that cute little face? Look at that little face. We're going to call them hoglegs.
See, what's like a alligator?
All right, so let me see who's been listening when I say my next animal is going to be a poisonous animal. What's it going to be?
A mushroom.
Thank you.
That's what I had. Very good.
Last time I checked, a mushroom was a plant, not an animal. But good answer. Not just any toad. This is the marine toad. This is one of the largest toads in the world. These actually live in South Texas and range all the way to South America. They are very toxic to other animals. Even people have died doing things that weren't real bright with this toad. Where'd you look
It's big, isn't it? Over here? Want to sit over here closer? Are you sure? Isn't it room over here? You can't see?
No, I did not. I don't own any poisonous snakes. There is no such thing as poison.
What do you think of this?
Alright. Hey kids, we still have some more room along the wall over here if you want to sit up front. Come on, grab a seat. So you know, we hear snake stories a lot. Let's not sit here because I'm walking down that aisle. So let's sit down over here, thanks. And a lot of the stories I've heard are what I call urban legends. And that's because people have been telling the same story over and over again. And after 30, 40, and 50 years, it must be true, even though it wasn't true to begin with. Those are urban legends. And I run into that quite a bit. People have some very interesting and strange ideas about snakes. So my next snake actually has a story about him. People would call him the hoop snake. They believed he would take his tail, put it in his mouth to form a hoop, and roll down the hill after you. And when he caught you, he'd whip you with his tail. You believe that? No. But when you look at his tail, you can see why he gets the name Coach Whip. And this is the Western Coach Whip. These are very common around here. They average about 6 feet long. I've seen bigger ones. Here I can climb rocks. Look at that. So these are only active during the day. They're looking for any small animals to feed on. Yep. Hey guys, I can't talk over you if you're talking. Okay, so please help me out here. But these snakes will feed on just about any roach, other snakes, lizards, amphibians. They're not real picky. They'll even eat rattlesnakes for confidence. So these are very common throughout the whole state of Texas. One of the things they like to do is sit in the tall grass and hold their head up above the grass, almost like a little periscope, so they can see what's going on, looking for food. Okay, let's see, is that any better? Alright. That doesn't mean you guys can keep talking because I don't want to have to talk over you. Who in here can tell me what kind of snake is immune to the pit viper venom? Anybody know? What kind of snake around here actually eats rattlesnakes, copperheads, water moccasins? Very good. King snake, exactly. We have king snakes all over the United States. This one is an albino California king snake. Now, king snakes are constrictors. They primarily feed on rodents, but they will eat other snakes, including venomous species. Okay, this one was born in captivity because usually albinos don't survive in the water. Now we have two species of king snakes that live around here. We have the speckled king and the prairie king.
Emma.
How many of you are familiar with Gaddy School Road? Up and around. Not far from here, right? All right, here's the scenario for you. Back in the late 80s, I used to go down Gaddy School Road before it was all developed, before it was a neighborhood. And we would find roadside trash piles or old abandoned farms, and we'd go looking for snakes. And I would find king snakes on a regular basis over in that area. Here we are 25 years later, and I still get rattlesnake calls out at the end of Gaddy School Road. What I can't find are king snakes. What happened? Somebody messed up big time. Big time. They would have left those king snakes there, they wouldn't have rattlesnakes now. That's why snake identification is so important. The only venomous snake we have around here that I consider a safety issue is the western diamondback rattlesnake. It's that simple. And a lot of people don't realize rattlesnakes are born with the rattle. It doesn't come later. But they're born with the button, the beginning of the rattle. And every time they shed their skin, they make another segment on the rattle. So that's why we can't tell how old they are by the rattle, because the rattles form depending on how fast they're growing. Okay? And you're not going to know how many times they shed their skin. Oh, the thing's not working? We're going to trade off here. There we go. Actually, I'm getting ready to put him back.
We need everybody to be very quiet, not scare the animals, okay? Vibrate voices.
So you're going to be my mammal wife, did you say?
I can't see.
Well, I can probably handle most of them with one hand. You know, if you look up the word domestic animal, basically they're talking about animals that have been born and raised in captivity. Hey guys, if we could sit on the side of the aisle, so I'm going to try and walk up and down the aisle. There we go. Anyway, this is an albino corn snake, and it qualifies as a domestic animal. They have been breeding these for pets since the early 70s. And literally hundreds of thousands of these are bred every year for pets. This is one of the most popular pet snakes worldwide. This is an adult. Okay guys, I need to walk through here. We don't want to talk out there.
Let's keep the aisle clear, guys.
They have been breeding corn snakes for so long in captivity. There's over 200 different colors and pattern combinations. It's unbelievable. Isn't that pretty?
They're not slimy at all.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Make sure you keep the aisle clear, guys. Separate a little bit so we can have this aisle clear. We need to have this space right here clear. There. He needs to be able to walk there. Thank you.
All right. Now, is there anybody in here that knows a lot about turtles? We got a few people. Here's my question to you. What is the largest freshwater turtle species in North America? What is it? Man, that didn't take long. Exactly. Alligator snapping turtle. I am going to need both hands on this one.
Okay. Everybody be very, very quiet.
Well, maybe not.
Now this is when you can't take.
So alligator snapping turtle, these are found in East Texas. They are a protected species in just about every state they occur in. The males of the species can get over 200 pounds. They get big. Can we get you to move over so I can walk through down the aisle here? Thanks. Now, not only does it carry the title of being the largest species of turtle in North America, freshwater, but it's the only turtle in the world that goes fishing with a lure. He's got a little big tongue that looks like a worm. So he camouflages in the bottom of the lakes in the mud. Sits with his mouth wide open, he wiggles his tongue back and forth, and the fish are like, hey, look at that worm! And they swim right into his mouth. It is so cool. You want to show me your tongue? Alright, I'm going to hand the microphone back to you so you go here. Alright, if we can keep our hands in our laps, no pointing, no waving.
you. You guys are doing a great job.
Look, Captain.
No, don't hurt them. They have sharp feet. Whatever you want to call it, but it's not teeth. All right, one more thing before I put him away. Does anybody want their ears pierced? You sure? You know what though? The problem with that is getting him to let go. Probably not a good idea. So one of my
Do
homies.
animal pictures?
Yeah, I've got a box of cereal.
Everybody answer at once. How do you know it's a lizard, not a snake? Good for you. He's right. Not a snake, it's a lizard. And we know it's a lizard because A, he can blink his eyes. Snakes don't have eyelids. B, he's got ear openings. And snakes don't have ear openings. This is a European legless lizard. He feeds on small rodents and insects. We have legless lizards in Texas, but they don't get anywhere near the size of this legless lizard. All right, movie trivia time. And this is going to be mostly the adults because I found that a lot of the kids aren't familiar with this movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raise your hand if you've seen the movie. And if you're like me, you probably watch it once a year or so when it comes on, right? So the next time you're watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and it comes to the snake pit scene, remember what this looked like and look at what's actually in the pit. Because most of those animals weren't even snakes. They were lizards. I was one of the few people who started laughing when he said, I don't like snakes. I'm like, but those are lizards in there. So, we set up a website to help people identify our native snakes here in Austin. And we set up the identification website a little bit differently than most. We set it up according to the pattern of the snake. So if it's a solid colored snake, it's on that page. Solid colored snakes. Snakes with a stripe. Snakes with bands. Snakes with diamonds. They all have their own page to make identification very easy. We do a lot of snake calls every year, and the most common snake that people will call me about is the Texas rat snake. It's a large snake. They average 4 to 6 feet. And they love going to people's backyards because they figured out that's where they can find the rats and the mice, where people don't clean up the brush or leave a gap underneath their backyard shed or have rats in the attic. That's what they're after. And if you live in an area where rattlesnakes live, they compete with rattlesnakes for food. So everything that rat snake does actually benefits our home and our family because of what they're eating. But he does something that fools people into thinking he's not a rat snake. So we're going to do a little demonstration for you. And I'm going to need you guys to be quiet so I want you to hear something. an audio demonstration, which means I want you to hear something. Can we stop the talking? Everybody heard that, right? And when you hear that sound, what are you thinking? Let you take the microphone. So, girls, I need you to move out of that aisle. I need to walk through there. Now, everybody heard that sound, and what you heard. If you guys are leaving early, we have some handouts at the back by the door. Help yourself. All right, good. All right, that sound you heard was the snake vibrating his tail. His way of saying, leave me alone. Don't bother me. So imagine him in the dry leaves and the dead grass and that tail starts to vibrate. People automatically assume, oh, it's a rattlesnake. There's no rattle on that tail. And it's not the right color for rattlesnake. Rattlesnake is brown and gray. He's black and yellow. Rattlesnakes have diamonds on their back. He has what we call blotches, a non-geometric shape. This is the most common snake we have in Austin. I'll tell you what, he's also the grumpiest. He's got way more attitude than a rattlesnake does. Now, remember how we talked about identifying a hognose snake by the way they behave? We can do the same thing with a rat snake. It's the only large snake we have that climbs. So when somebody says, I've got a snake in the tree, I have a snake in an attic, I have a snake in the birdhouse, we don't need a description. This is it right here. It's that simple. The rat snake. Don't worry about it. Leave it alone. Having this animal in your backyard, believe it or not, protects your home and your family. He even competes with rattlesnakes for food. As long as you don't pick him up, he's not going to bite you. You pick him up, he will try and bite. He's so well trained. Watch this. Open wide. All right, one more time. Open wide. There, you got your picture? All right, here's my next question for you. How many of you are familiar with Robert Rodriguez's movie From Dusk Till Dawn? Could be the older crowd, not the young kids. Okay. And for the two people that raised your hand, are you aware of his TV show? He took the movie and made a TV series out of it. And it's showing on his own channel called the El Rey Channel. Anyway, there's been 2 seasons, and in both seasons, I got the pleasure of providing the snakes for the show, because snakes are a major part of that movie. So today, we have the main snake from the TV show, From Dusk Till Dawn. That's what he will. This is an albino boa constrictor. This is a girl, so she'll get a little bit bigger than this. But like I said, she's the main snake on the TV show. They love her. They handle her all the time. That's a baby. About 20, but she'll get up to 50.
I'm not prepared.
You don't want to scare them. You're doing a great job.
So,
Other side of me, or you
when I say the word python, do you think of a small snake or a big snake? Well, there's 40 different species of pythons, and only 6 of them get big. Out of 40, only 6 of them get larger than 10 feet. So when somebody says to me they're thinking about getting a python for a pet, I remind them, you do not have to get a big one. There are plenty of species out there that stay small and are manageable. This is a good example. This is an adult ball python. And next to the corn snake, this is the second most commonly bred snake for pets. And part of the reason is they move about that much more than a pet rock. They don't move much. But they're pretty laid back, pretty easy going. If you buy them from a breeder, you're going to have a good deal. If you go to a pet store, maybe not so much. The breeders tend to take better care of their animals. But these are great python pets. All right, now I want to remind everybody that the snakes I brought with me, these are my pets. The rat snake, not so much. But most of the snakes I brought with me have been handled by hundreds, not thousands of people. They've been doing this for most of their lives. So, if you are outside and you see a snake, it is not going to behave as well as these are. That's why we leave them alone. This is very important. I want to show you what we do when we see a snake outside, because a lot of people don't know this. Let's pretend I'm walking along and here's a snake on the ground. Everybody watching? This is what we do. How difficult was that?
What did he do?
Okay? Walk away. Exactly. It is so simple. We average about 3,000 venomous bites in Texas a year, and in most cases, the person that is bitten is aware of the snake and they won't leave it alone. That's it. That's all it is. Leave it alone. We average about one person a year dying from snake bite. I'd say every 3 to 4 years we get one person that might die from a bite. Just put it in perspective here. We average 8 people a year dying from lightning strikes in Texas. Just putting it in perspective. Okay? There you go. Let you hold that. I am part of a group that is doing educational outreach programs with rattlesnakes. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there about rattlesnakes. And in Texas, we have an ecological disaster going on called the rattlesnake groundup. How many of you are familiar with that? And it's a travesty. I mean, it's destroying our environment, it's poisoning our water table, there's all kinds of issues. So our group is putting on an educational event with rattlesnakes. That's just the opposite of a roundup. But we're doing this on April 30th, May 1st, called the Lone Star Rattlesnake Days. We're going to have over 70 species of rattlesnakes on display. We have 3 Texas zoos that are working with us on this effort. We're going to have children's activities. We're going to have speakers throughout the weekend. We're going to have venom extraction by the Kentucky Reptile Zoo folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I've got cards on that folder back there. Please help yourself. I do a lot of birthday parties. That's when we get to do more hands-on. I've got coloring sheets and crossword puzzles back there. If you guys want to check that out and use your brain for a little bit or doodle with a crayon, take your pick. Our website's on the bottom of those pages. If you guys are interested in learning more about our native snakes, please help yourself. Tell you what, I did promise I could touch the snake, so if you don't mind holding it, if you guys want to touch the snake, come on up, take the line, let's use your fingers. We'll bring the head along. There you go.
Kristen, do you want to check it? You do? You want to just stay right here with me?
Emma, good luck.
I want you to stand up there next to that lizard and take a picture. You don't want to? Alright, this works. He's going to stay right here. I'm sorry. Foxy, you're going to stay. Stay.
I had a birthday Can we say hi to your company? Yeah, Foxy. I'm sorry. You're okay. Thank you.
Cody wants to touch the snake, so just stay there, okay?
Let's see what else there is.
Watch out for the camera.
Roxy, stay. Pull it, Cody. You can do it. Hold her.
That's how I started.
Come on.
Come on, baby.
Thank you. All right, come on, let's go.
It's so cute. I gave you one of everything. Widget will love the red because it's your favorite color and Widget has the same
Live
favorite color.
streaming.
I'm just like,
Hopefully it's.
that's interesting.
See how they well, that makes it together so it'll stick together.
Oh, put that in. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. We can put all of them in the same bags. We don't have to waste all the bags. We'll all go in the same spot. Oh, look, they're wet.
Did you guys know?
And then you go to water for you.
How does it dry up?
When we put it in the fridge. So just put it in here. Here's a bag. Or you could share a bag. It doesn't really matter.
It is. Actually, sometimes when a dog has a tummy ache, pumpkin helps them feel better.
I like your dog.
Thank you.
It's okay. She doesn't want it right now.
Hopefully I got you on the screen. I can't tell.
Yes.
Yes. The back of her head.
We don't have enough batteries for all of them, so the batteries are just to test. But every once in a while they're done. So if you want to check it before you start talking.
Oh, you're good at that. I just bought a dog whistle so that I can, when my dogs are fighting at the things, they're neighbor dogs, I can just they get all into it.
Oh no. Take her out. No, you can't take all the camera out. And then you can't. Can I pet it?
Did you see this one too?
You say hi, Chip?
Yeah, hopefully this is still working. This is our
yeah.
live stream.
Oh, yeah.
Go down just a little bit. There you go.
I want to go down.
Do you want to pet it?
Thank you. Yes, you are.
I'll just text her. She was going
Oh, look at the little face. I need to clean it.
So he didn't.
Excuse me. Not even in the line.
She's over.
Think about it. What side of the chicken you think has the most fat? You ever seen a chicken?
Okay, which side has the most fun?
Squeeze in the car.
What's that? What's my bag?